Okay.
Now
you're streaming.
Are we real?
You're streaming. You're streaming. I see the button.
I'm in the world now. I've come out of my hovel. Gollum is out of the sun. Hello, welcome to my nightmare.
It is. It's not my nightmare. My nightmare is definitely.
It's just Alice Cooper. It's just a song reference.
Because I was like, my nightmare is totally sitting in a course room.
Oh yeah, well that's not a nightmare. That's a literal like Dante's Inferno.
Inferno.
Yeah. Seventh ring of hell.
So I want to say thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I see Sophia, obviously Mandy. Music is what's needed today. Yes. And this man's music definitely makes me feel better. Hooray. Don't forget that we do have the chat rules. No hate speech, derogatory remarks, spamming, no debates, no fighting, no talking about other streams or promos. Please be kind and respect the hosts, guests, mods, and
Pokemon cards.
That's because someone messaged and said they threw them away. And I was very traumatized because I have my collection and then my other collection. And then my other collection.
And there's so much more. Me and my ex, we used to have a whole bunch of Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. We had a whole wall of Nightmare Before Christmas, including three giant snow globes.
Nice.
Which were gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Like,
I have the 1.5-foot bobblehead of Harry Potter and Groot. Because that is what we love. I am Groot.
I am Groot.
Oh,
Groot is great.
I'm doing it, Mandy. I'm popping you up. This is Mandy, the amazing mod.
Okay.
A Furby.
I was going to say, I don't know if you read Bret Easton Ellis, but he wrote a book about Furbies. So that really scared me for a second. Where they come to life and try to kill him in his own home kind of thing.
I love Furbies.
If they ever make that movie, you might think different.
Yeah, you might. It might scare you.
Hi, Furby.
Yes, this is my amazing mod Mandy. She is in the back stream, so she gets to click things. She's got her multiple hairs. I've got mine that is out of order.
It's falling out in droves, running away.
Yeah, well, you know.
And I got a great big scar on my head. What's this now? This is
one of the toys from Nightmare.
Yeah. Okay, I recognize them. That's cool. Yeah. Dan, let's talk about Danny Elfman.
You want to talk about Mr. Elfman?
As far as like music, Danny. And one of the reasons I love that movie so much is his music. What's this?
Beetlejuice is my favorite.
Yeah, Beetlejuice, Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm.
And
I do love that they're coming out with a new Beetlejuice.
Are they really? Keaton coming back? Boy, what a comeback this dude is making! It's a bird, right? And he's the Falcon, and he's going to be end up being Batman again.
True.
He'll win an Oscar for being like the old man Batman who finally dies.
I'm guessing, Daniel, you listened to Oingo Boingo too?
Yeah, Dead Man's Party. I just watched Weird Science the other day.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Weird Science.
Ooh.
Sorry for the mess. I am doing my laundry.
Oh yeah, no, laundry is a never-ending process here. It's I'm so embarrassed because the dog too often is like curled up in a pile of dirty laundry. That seems to be one of her favorite places to be. And I feel like a bad daddy, doggy daddy because she does it.
Well, mine is out rompaging around. We've got one laying in their bed. Oh, I think they're all rompaging. So.
Well, that's good. That's good they have each other. Like, I worry she doesn't rompage enough. I don't know, because she's half pit, and sometimes people are kind of weird about pit bulls. And then I'm really weird. I'm not sure which it is that turns people off more, me or her, but together, I think people are just confused and they just want to walk on by.
See, and so I get that a lot. So what I usually end up doing, and this might be totally wrong, I have really bad allergies now. Didn't have them before. But for some reason, whenever I say, hold on, everybody, I'm trying not to give you the gay, and I start sneezing, it just cuts through all of the red tape. And everybody's like, I appreciate you not giving me the gay because it's hella contagious.
Because it's totally contagious, right? Don't look. Right. It's that, remember the meme? It's like, don't look. The little kid's looking at something gay, and the mother's like, don't look. And it's too late, mommy. And the rainbows are shooting out of him. The gay agenda is more glitter. That's the gay agenda.
Yes,
That's
more
the gay agenda is literally glitter. It's actually, if you ask the love of my life, it's unicorn and rainbows. Is the gay agenda.
That's what we need. We need that. Do you remember the poop thing where it was like unicorn shit? There was something about it was
the squatty potty.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's
the
squatty potty. We have one.
Which is a very good idea because that's a better position to poo in because otherwise you're cutting your intestines and anyway, whatever. It's just
You're pinching
true.
it off in the wrong
It's
spot.
just true. You know, there's forever, for centuries, humanity is squatted to shit. And it wasn't until the Victorian era we decided we had to sit on a fucking throne.
Well, true. Tommy Anderson. Hey, everyone. First live. Liz, you're doing amazing. Hey, thank you so very much. Everyone. Sophia, Sassy Sister, Kathy, Witness, Tony, Kelly, Ginger Snap. I have not said hi to everybody because this is going to be an open conversation.
Should I say hi to people? Spirit in the sky blue.
That's right.
Spirit in the sky. Spirit in the sky.
Hey, as long as it's not oh God, how did that one go that when we were kids? And dang it, I don't remember it.
Had the time of my life.
No, it's it used to be the intro to the Bridge to Total Freedom. It was Ella Rich's voice doing the and I, and then it would intro into one of those creepy songs, like one of the many creepy songs.
What do I remember? There is a road to happiness, whatever the rest may say. I remember singing that in the fucking choir in front of people.
Hey, I remember.
Or we did a rewriting of the 12 Days of Christmas, where it was datums from TAC, where it was clear your amuse, like that kind of shit, instead of 5 gold rings.
5 golden rings,
No, it was
4 big lashings, 3 never
right.
eaten, 2
Oh,
getting. Yeah, we could do this. I could totally do that one. The 12 Days of Christmas with how bad things were.
No, I'm talking about being like programmed little like Nazi child in a Scientology school singing like singing in a pro like, oh yeah, these are the days.
that's how I felt about singing hymns in church.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
It's the same concept.
And all the praise goes to He. But at least like God is something that seems at least bigger than you, or
Fathomable, touchable.
No, no, I just mean like God, at least as presented in a Christian notion, is a gigantic thing, whereas we're just there with this guy,
Yeah.
this balding, weird, ruddy-faced guy with bad teeth. That's our dude. You know, at least Jesus is good looking. He's got those abs. He's got the hipster beard going. You know, he's hot. Jesus
He
is
was
fuckable.
hipster before it was cool.
Amen. L. Ron Hubbard was never fuckable. Never fuckable. Not at any point in his life. That's part of his damage. Harvey Weinstein, never fuckable. That's part of his damage. That's why they're like this.
You know what my favorite part was? So listening
Donald
to
Trump. Sorry.
Damageable. But so I used to walk around because I would go to church when I'd visit my grandmother. My grandma would take me to church in Sacramento. We went to Holy Family Church, in case anybody needed to know what kind of church and denomination. Okay. So I would sit there and I would be walking from course to course. Jesus is my caution. You know, literally a constant friend.
No, the Christian music that annoys me is all the like, I'm nothing, you're everything. That Christian, that's the base kind of Christian concept that offends me the most, because it completely disempowers you as a person. You have nothing, you do nothing, nothing you do is worth anything, nothing matters because everything is God's plan and God has everything. And it's like,
and then you're basically like a sinner right out the womb. So you have to constantly repent. I grew up in a Southern Baptist.
Oh.
Yeah. And so we just grew up that we were born sinners, like from a previous life.
Yeah. Yeah. In Scientology, right. We're sinners even to have be here in the first place. We've been sent to prison.
Isn't that like a typical notion in religion / cults? Like you are no good, so therefore you must keep doing these repentant type things.
It's a basic indoctrination. We see it in advertising. The Rolling Stones wrote a great song about how you're inadequate as a human if you don't use the same toothpaste, right? That's the gimmick all the way. Oh my God, you're failing. You suck. Don't worry. We have the solution.
It's toothpaste.
Even if we've created the problem in the first place, we have the solution. Politics is all about that. Letting shitty things happen, then coming back behind and going, oh, we'll fix it, instead of preventing the shitty thing from happening in the first place. Because that doesn't read as well in the press.
True.
Looking like a hero is much more like, whatever. I'm not going to get into it. But looking like a hero is much more politically advantageous than actually preventing a tragedy from happening. Preventing, how about we don't pollute the groundwater to begin with, rather than having to give everybody bottled water.
Yeah, anyway. I've basically spent like every day that I've gotten out of the church. I'm 42 now. I left when I was 24-ish, 23. And I've spent like every day just trying to figure out like, why do we do this as humans? Why do we do this to each other?
Which part? The containment, the control,
the abuse, the control.
So much of it's about control. I think, someone like Owen Hubbard and David Miscavige. David Miscavige is clearly a terrified shaking little animal. And so he's got to do he's a classic Napoleon. He's got to hit and just come at everything 1,000 pounds heavier than anything needs to be because he's so fucking scared. And that's what he does. I don't know what else. I've never actually spoken to the man, but he used to come into the office. He used to come into Shaw sometimes. He was buddies with Dr. Price. And he is the definition of a little Napoleon. He would march down that little hallway on his little tiny little spindly legs. We talk about how short he is. You don't realize how tiny he is beyond that. And people would duck out of his way, would jump out of his way. He was such a little motor monster. But so someone like that is desperate to have some control because he's got none, really. In the real world, he would have none. In the real world, he'd be a tiny little person with nothing, with no power, no control over anything. He weighs 98 pounds soaking wet, and he has no formal education. He doesn't seem to have any real ability. What would he do in the real world? I don't want to demean anybody by saying he'd do a thing, whatever. He'd do a thing, but not what he's got. In this way, he gets to be the king in the castle. He gets to eat caviar and suck dick or whatever it is he does. Him and Tom Cruise, whatever it is they do,
whatever they do behind closed doors.
I know enough about the crazy things that go on between men behind closed doors to know that everybody would be shocked to know how much is always this. I don't know, whatever. Let's not get into that.
Everybody's gay.
Not right. Kurt Cobain. What else can I say? Everyone is gay, and to some extent, perhaps, I think that's the whole point of the shades of gray, the in between, the spectrum, as it were, right? Mm-hmm. So, this is one of those things I blame a religion for: binary thinking. Religion hands you binary thinking. Everything is either good or bad, black or white, up or down, and there's no in between. But we all know, if you've lived a little life, that most of life actually exists in between. Mm-hmm. And we ignore too much of that too often, and particularly with sexuality, because people are so afraid of it. We've been conditioned to be so terrified of our own sexuality, like you said, putting in the context of being sinful and original sin. From the very beginning, already you're bad. I mean, to me, it blows my mind the idea that telling a pubescent mammal that there's something wrong with them for thinking about sex. There'd be something wrong with you if you weren't thinking about sex while going through puberty. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But religion wants to tell you that you're sinful for thinking, for having dirty thoughts. And that's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I cannot with the whole purity culture thing. And I mean,
and Scientology picks up on that shit too. And it frustrates the fuck out of me because if nothing else, Scientology presents itself as being a spiritually minded theology. So issues of gender and sexuality and race, none of that should matter at all. This is about if you're going to take it seriously, as unfortunately.
Well, the one thing that I bring up to people that don't realize this with I think Mormons have the same thing, evangelicals and Southern Baptists, where girls aren't even supposed to use tampons because that's considered masturbation.
Right. It's penetration. Yeah, they're obsessed with the penetration. That's where they get into like when they know there's something wrong with their theology, so they get obsessive and pedantic about the language. What were you going to say, Liz?
I was going to say, honestly, if you would have told me that I had to wear it, because I know that for the longest time when they were doing the preps and stuff, like the girls that were older than me would always tell me, and you get to wear a pad soon. And I could hear them going, squish, 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 squish.
Like wearing a diaper.
It sounds like you're wearing a diaper. Like it literally sounds like you were wearing a Depends.
There was something in a movie or something where a girl like was given like she had her period for the first time and she's given this old tampon rig from like her grandmother that's like a garter belt that has like a strap on it and there's clips and shit. Like I can't imagine. That's why women back then wore those giant hoop skirts. So that
you wouldn't see the blood.
You couldn't hear the squishing. So you couldn't hear the squishing.
Oh, the skirt was already squishing enough. So it was like, oh, okay.
It's insane. It's insane. You think about women in garter belts and fucking hoop skirts, and God only knows how they, survived. I don't know.
The entire basis for Seventh-day Adventists was being vegetarian because it reduces sex drive.
See why?
I will tell you, when I eat a salad, there's some times that I'm like, you know what? I want to eat someone else's salad.
Some people like syrup, but I prefer jelly.
Oh my gosh.
She's tossing. That's vegan, tossing salad. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Just as long as that's ridiculous. See why? Why is there such why is it sex, this obsession with sex? And it's the Puritans. We were, here's another false notion. We're sold this idea that the Puritans were escaping religious persecution, but actually they were trying to persecute everybody else. They didn't want the progress that was occurring with the Protestants and the Reformation. So they were the ones being the old school bitches going, we want the fucking Middle Ages back. And they didn't want it back. They said, no, we got rid of the Catholic thing for a reason. We broke away from the Catholic thing for a reason. And so they were chased out of Europe. That's how the Puritans came to America. Europe was not sending their best people.
No.
Ever at any point. Most of the original colonists were criminals and religious fanatics. Of course, that's what we ended up with. That's America, right? Criminals and religious fanatics.
Oh, hold on one second. Liz, what about SDA? I grew up and didn't hear about sex drive being a vegetarian. I'm just brain farting. What's SDA?
Seventh day Adventist.
Oh, okay. I don't know a lot about it, but my friend Charisse, she does. She was brought up as a Seventh-day Adventist. Her mom still practices.
Aren't these the ones that like the guy predicted the end of the world like a long time ago and it never happened?
All doomsday cult.
And they kind of go, well, we'll just keep going anyway.
Yeah, just keep going. At least like the Mayans.
At least
the calendar ends, but
right. The calendar ended, but at least those 10-issue guys had the audacity, had the good graces to finish themselves off. That's not a good joke. No. But there's commitment there. There's commitment there is all I'm saying.
True. There was definitely commitment to drink the Kool-Aid. That's the one thing that I'm worried about is the next step in Scientology is you're already drinking the Kool-Aid because you're giving them hundreds of thousands of dollars just to go up the bridge to total nothingness. And then at the same time, you're evading the part of your family that just needs your love and affection. And yet we're supposed to be like, yay, Scientology is an amazing thing. But like you and I were talking, like we needed approval. And the only way I got approval was finishing courses or auditing.
Right. That's part of the hook. Is so there's this complete, the idea of unconditional love was not a thing we knew. All of any approval was all conditional to following the rules. Which I was never following ever. So I never felt like anybody loved me, even in the slightest, certainly not my parents. But wait, what were you saying? There was some point I wanted to make to what you said, and I've lost my own train of thought.
that everything came with conditions, whether it was auditing, like you got love. Oh my God, you finished your auditing course. Oh my God, hug.
Right. And so we learned that. That's what I was saying. That's part of the cult training. Is you're bad, unless here. It's like giving a treat to a dog to formulate a behavior. So the dog just keeps repeating the behavior because it knows it gets a treat, not necessarily because it knows what the behavior is about. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's how we were trained. Yeah. And it's nature of abuse. There's a lot of this sort of conditioning in just sort of basic abusive relationships. But that's what he did. He cultivated domestic abuse into the religion, into the theology.
Yeah, just like how a wife is supposed to act.
Oh yeah.
How a husband is supposed to act.
And it's, of course,
this book is garbage.
And just like his sci-fi, everything is just coincidentally just like it was in the 1950s America. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, she put her pussy on the screen.
Oh no, is that allowed on YouTube? Meow.
Yeah. Hold on. That's the closest I could do. I don't know a lot. The lore of DOA. Oh, Scotty.
Free Danny? Is that Free Danny Masterson? Who's the Free
No,
Danny?
Danny is one of the YouTubers.
The DOA guy.
He was arrested just like DOA, and he was swatted, and now he's being held on a hate crime. Like, wasn't even doing anything, and he's now being held on a hate crime.
No, it's insane. The police are insane these days. Last time I had police interaction, I was oh, that's right. I called an ambulance. I called an ambulance one morning because I was having a panic. I didn't even call. Somebody else did. Doesn't matter who called. The point is the police show up first. And rather than dealing with a medical emergency, they came in like they were dealing with some criminal, like they were raiding the place. And this cop was, and so I'm literally I'm hyperventilating. I'm sitting on my bed. I'm literally hyperventilating. And the cop comes over and he's supposed to be guarding me, I guess. And he's got his dick right in my face. And at a certain moment, I was kind of like coming, kind of getting a little more aware of what was going on. And I asked him, "Excuse me, officer, could you back up a little bit?" Nothing. "Yo, dude, could you back up?" "Yo, bro." I tried to relate to him as a person. Nah. Tried to relate to him as an officer. Nah. Eventually, I was like, "Yo," but I don't remember. I said, "Yo," or something. I made a noise. And he looks down at me and he just sort of steps to the side, not away, not to back off. And he goes, "There, I moved." And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I called him a little Napoleon, which is my bad, I realize, but the truth nonetheless.
True. They don't like their egos being hurt.
Apparently, you're not allowed to talk to police like they're human. Apparently, you're supposed to respond to them like they're robots, like they want to be like robots, I guess. It feels like they're training cops to be robots, completely sociopathic. The notion used to be that every citizen interaction was a potential criminal. Now it seems the assumption is that all interaction is not just criminal, but potentially a terrorist or a drug dealer or something really over the top. And there's never just, "Hi, I'm just a person in the world having a problem. Can you relate to another human right now?" Nah, they got nothing. These motherfuckers handcuffed me, dragged me out into the hall in my fucking underwear, and then laughed at me as the EMT crew rolled me away. Police. Protect and serve, right? No.
Right. And see, that's where it gets disgusting, because it's like, I had someone at my house, and this, not recently, I had someone at my house, and it was one of those situations.
Am I allowed to do this? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, okay.
You can.
Some people are very offended by cigarette smoking these days, even more so than the worst of things.
I'm fat. The worst that you can see is I'll eat. Like, don't put a bowl of spaghetti in front of me. Like, but at the same time,
I hear you on the spaghetti.
Right?
With ice cream.
Especially
I'd rather have pasta even. I'd rather have spaghetti than ice cream.
Wait,
I am all about, and it's got to be spicy spaghetti. Yeah, I love sherbet.
Over ice cream?
Yeah, I love rainbow sherbet.
How does it feel to be wrong?
That's some gay. How is it to be wrong? That's some conviction to the gay rainbow, man.
Yeah, I got to hit that Skittles. Got to taste the rainbow.
Yeah.
No, when I was a kid, Thrifties used to have the best, like their ice cream.
The little corner,
that little store by Wendy's. So So you had the Thrifties, and it was 25 cents for a scoop of ice cream, like 35
It wasn't
cents
even
for
a
two.
scoop. It was a little like pressed like square of ice cream. It was the funniest little shape of ice cream. The little gun, like a staple gun or something.
Yeah, and so it was like,
yeah.
And then they put it on the top, and let me tell you, they had the best rainbow sherbet that I'd ever had in my entire life. And I would just sit there walking back to the org.
Yeah, that was it. Thrifties, man, that was the deal.
Yeah, Thrifties was our jam.
I want to say it was like Sunset and Argyle, and there was like a strip mall that was all Western themed.
We had not just an ice cream truck, but we also had a snow cone truck that came through my neighborhood.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
And I loved getting snow cones with like the liquidy marshmallow stuff on the top.
You must not have grown up in a cult, because we didn't have ice cream trucks come into the blue area. Like,
there was an ice cream truck that came around on Cherimoya. There was an ice cream truck that came down Cherimoya when I was a kid.
I was like, I don't remember ever seeing an ice cream truck, like, ever. Just like, when people used to tell me there's, here's something. Didn't have a lot of dark and tan friends when I was a kid. I remember the first time I had seen someone that was of darker skin, and I was like, I remember asking my mom, is their skin dirty? And my mom was like, no, that's just their skin color. And I was like,
and this is from growing up in the cadet organization.
Yeah, at Pac Base.
Okay.
So we didn't, so I'd never, and I was just like, you're just the prettiest person ever. Your skin.
So well, yeah, that was definitely more isolating. But that's funny. I have a friend who's from Kiev.
Kids are hilarious like that, though.
Yeah. I have a friend who's from Kiev, and he tells a story about being in a post office for the first time he saw a black man, and he was like 11 and like freaked out. But he's from Kiev, he's from some other place completely.
Yeah, see, I grew up in a place that was basically 50-50. But I was also grew up with racist grandparents. So
that's fun.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to have black guy friends, but the girls were okay, because I was told that all the black people would.
No. That's probably the most kind of like
bad things.
Fucked up and like consistent racial epitaph is this idea that black men are just chronic sex maniacs.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I grew up with my
To Kill a Mockingbird. That's the situation, right?
Love To Kill a Mockingbird.
The white woman has an affair with the black man. She gets caught, and rather than copping to her own whatever misdeed, she accuses him of rape. And that was a constant thing. That was a common thing for a long time. And even to the point, like FBI, like they have this whole thing, like if it's nondescript black guy, then it's probably the parents. Like,
well, if you look at any of the history on how race came about to begin with, how we categorized race, it's just insane.
Like 3/5 a person? You mean that kind of thing?
Yeah, that whole thing where like if you were, had one parent that was black, you're this name. If you had a grandparent that was black, you're categorized as this.
Or like in Australia, they went through a whole thing. I'm sorry. In Australia, they went through a whole thing where they were kidnapping indigenous children who were mixed in order to try to re-whiten them.
That's what they did here too, and in Canada.
Oh, that's crazy.
The Indian boarding schools. Yeah, one of my teachers, her mom was one of the last ones. Because the Indian boarding schools, the last one that closed in the United States was like 96. Canada, they were still going on for a bit longer. But that's what they would tell these children. You're dirty. You have to constantly wash your hands. Get that dirt off.
It's so
and
crazy.
It's so insane.
Or like there's old soap ads you see every once in a while where it's the little white girl and little black girl and they're cleaning off the little black girl. Like those, you still see them sometimes. Whoopi Goldberg used to do a bit about being a little black girl, and she put a yellow t-shirt on her head and pretend to be a white girl with long, luxurious blonde hair. And there's a famous photograph of her in a big bubble bath that Annie Leibovitz took, supposedly trying to wash the black off, because that was part of the bit, was, comes back around to the pain of.
That's a good movie. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard that one?
Oh, yeah. It's a classic.
Have you seen that? Yeah. Great movie. Because I remember a lot of those movies were coming out around that time where they were trying to show interracial relationships and stuff.
I don't know. I feel like we, like something like Different Strokes to me like means more than even Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, or just the mainstream of like, in my lifetime, I've watched the presentation of God in film go from George Burns, one of the whitest men on the planet, to Morgan Freeman. Do you know what I mean? Or like Kanye West, for example, what the sort of public breakdown that he's had is the sort of thing that used to be a Howard Hughes. Rich white men did that, not black men, but there he is. He's got the privilege of being that elite in that world of whatever it is, wealth and celebrity, that he's insulated and he can go live in the basement of an arena somewhere and nobody really bats an eyelash at it. Right? It's a whole nother, if his grandfather were like that, it would be a whole nother thing. It would be seen a whole nother way.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point I was making was, that's, the representation. And that's
the same thing in music too. Like
changed.
A lot of Black music was not given the platform that they deserved.
Yeah.
Especially like when Elvis was.
And a lot of people not giving credit. A lot of people not giving credit for where credit was due. I can't remember her name, but the woman who is probably more a part of creating rock and roll than even Elvis Presley. The woman
I forgot what her name is off the top of my head, but I know who you're talking about.
Who originally did not Blue Suede Shoes, but the
Hound
Dog. Yeah, the woman who I believe wrote Hound Dog.
Yeah,
ain't not but a
hound dog. And then you listen, you realize that, and you go, well, of course a woman wrote that. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Of course a woman wrote that. You know, what
right?
I mean?
And it's the way they say it. It's literally all about you ain't nothing but a hound dog.
No, howling all the time. It's that there's a word for it, the space in the back of your throat, and it's kind of like pushing the note back in there.
Yeah, I love the way that she sung. Another one that just is super underrated for me is a guy named Skip James, who did this blues song called Devil Got My Woman. And it is the most haunting piece of music I have ever heard. And I first heard it on the movie soundtrack for Ghost World.
Oh.
I recommend that to like everybody.
Probably one of the songs of Steve Buscemi.
Devil Got My Woman.
Yeah, okay. It's in the movie. Yeah, I remember the song.
Yeah. Like there's something about that old style of blues. It's not just the music, it's the way that they use their throat and their voice.
Big Mama Thornton. Thank you, Tim Green.
I knew it had to do with Mama something.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
Oh, Big Oscar Space Spirita.
Thank you guys for letting us know. That is an amazing song.
Yeah, so that's a big part of what I guess.
Yeah, music has been part of my life from the get-go, and living with different generations, I had so much different music presented to me. My grandfather gave me the 50s and 60s rock and roll. My grandmother was really into, old country. I had my mom into like Lynyrd Skynyrd. My uncle was into punk. So I got like tons of music around me.
You're the soundtrack of your life kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the soundtrack to my life, and it my mom loves classical music. It's all about the Bach, the Beethoven.
It's all about the Bach, Beethoven.
Or she likes the, and don't get me wrong, I like country too. I am very eclectic when it comes to music, but
I don't really know country music. People always expect me to be more country. I grew up on when I was a kid, it was hip hop. When I was a kid, Belle Biv DeVoe and Digital Underground, those were, and LL Cool J were the mainstream guys. And then MC Hammer came along and kind of ruined it for me. And then alternative, REM. I heard REM and the Pixies and Violent Femmes and stuff like that. And I got very engaged in that, very invested in that. But I don't really know country music. But when I was a kid, there was a lot of country crossovers from like Dolly Parton and Willie Nelson, Kenny Rogers, people like that.
Yeah.
Shania Twain.
But they were all storytellers.
That's in the 90s. I'm talking about
Snory.
That's the
story time genre.
That's the Ray Charles thing. I like the stories.
Yeah, and I will tell you, that's the night.
That's much more Jamie Foxx
in Georgia. Good
Georgia, oh Georgia.
Uh-huh.
No peace of mind. That's a gorgeous song. That's one of those legendary standard kind of songs that's just like blows your mind how good that song is.
But I think Adele's in that category. We were talking about that earlier, and I can't tell you how many times I would listen to Someone Like You and be like,
never mind, I'll find. It's so funny. Every time I heard Someone Like You, I was always thinking of Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You.
Nothing compares.
The video
to
in particular totally reminded me of the Sinead O'Connor video. There's an unsung hero of mine, Sinead O'Connor, and she passed recently, and I'm pissed that she's like so underrated. Because she was fucking genius. And but she's so remembered for that one song. I don't think people realize how much more she had or how much more she did.
Well, yeah. Well, how many? What was that guy?
Well, the news tore her apart. The mainstream media tore her apart.
My breaky heart.
Well, she did the. Well, that's Miley Cyrus's dad.
Yeah, Billy Ray Cyrus.
Billy Ray Cyrus,
yeah. The one-hit wonder.
Because Sinead O'Connor ripped up the picture of the Pope on SNL.
There was a bunch of things. There was a bunch of things. There was. Yeah. She refused to go to the Grammys. She kind of poo-pooed the whole institution of award shows. She went on Arsenio Hall and did not really articulate her point well enough, in my opinion, but she tried. There was a bunch of things. Yeah, she tore up the picture of the Pope, because she was protesting what it took the rest of us 20 years to catch up to. Do you know what I mean? Like it put spotlight. Oh, now everybody knows that priests are fucking kids. But didn't we all, the Irish Catholics knew that a long time ago. So that's what she was protesting. And then she went off and got herself ordained a fucking Catholic priest. And then at the end of the day, converted to Islam right before she passed. Yeah. So she was a very religious, religiously adventurous. She wanted to know it all. Good for her. Because and that's what happens when you grow up in a culture where people align you all the time. You get obsessed with the truth.
Kind of like that for me too. Like she did a lot of pushback. Like when she would win awards at like MTV or something, she would be like, "Don't listen to these people."
She said basically, "Don't praise me. Do your own thing. Praise your own thing." And people took that like her being a bitch. But I thought she was trying to be empowering. She was trying to be empowering to her fans, and instead people made a thing out of it. But that's media bullshit, right?
Yeah,
I remember MTV always trying to make out like there was some beef between Kurt Cobain and Eddie Vedder, and there never was.
I think media or entertainment needs to like have a beef between anybody. Like they just like to pick.
Well, that's what's selling. It really is a reflection of our culture, though. They wouldn't create bullshit if we didn't buy into it. We love it. Right. We want the junk food so bad. We crave it. And so that's what they provide for us because that's what gets the clicks. That's what makes the money. Rupert Murdoch said it in his deposition. It's not about blue or red. It's all about the green. It's all about the green. And that is the capitalistic motivation. That is the problem with the profit motive. If you can justify everything down to it's all about the Benjamins, well, then you can justify just about anything. You can do anything, and that's what people do. They go, well, what really matters is the revenue. What really matters is the money. Without the money, we're all going to die anyway. So kill some people to make some money. And that's the world we live in. Yay.
and the worst part, and thinking of that's how I used to view Scientology when I was a kid. They didn't care about anything but the money that was coming in.
And when you're working, and even better than I do, but when you're working in that environment where the pressure is on Thursday, the stat evolution, you got to get the thing, and you're like desperate to do anything. And there's this constant attitude, like if you really wanted to do it, you would just do it already. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tone 40, you would have already done it.
Right. If you really wanted it done, it would be done already. And it's like, fuck you, man. You're asking me to move a mountain right here. I sing these lyrics all the time about, oh, don't worry, I'll get to that mountain. I'll move that mountain at any time now. And that's exactly what that's a reference to. If you ever notice lyrics like that, the casual ask for the impossible act. Would you mind just, separating the stars for a minute? No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Would you mind,
I'll get right on that with my tone 40.
Yep, right there with you, because I'm totally there. I'm there right now. Oh, I guess I went down in tone.
No, we're 1-1. We're 1-1, Liz. Remember, we're
covert hostility.
We're covertly hostile and passive aggressive.
And we're just gonna stab everyone in the back.
Here's a point to make. Okay, here's a point to make. Again, L. Ron Hubbard, he's stuck in a 1950s old man mentality. Okay, so in his world, it was literally illegal to be gay. that being outed would completely destroy your life. Whatever sort of profession you had, whatever sort of family you had, whatever sort of community you had was gone. You know, we saw some of the greatest minds of our past be completely destroyed by being outed just because they were gay, like the Turing guy who created the computer, right? Oscar Wilde also. And so in his world, yes, I'm sure most gay men were really passive aggressive. I'm sure most gay men were really pissed about it. You know what? I'm not sure. I know how pissed you are because I spent a great deal of my life in the closet. So I know exactly how pissed off you are. I know exactly why you come off as 1-1 because fuck you. I'm not allowed to just be some fundamental part of myself because you've all decided there's something wrong with it and you don't even know what you're fucking talking about. So God damn it, I'm passive aggressive. Of course I'm covertly hostile because I'm not allowed to be overtly hostile. I'm not allowed to get in your face and tell you what's wrong with what you're doing, motherfucker. So what else option do I have? Yeah. So like, fine. In 1950, in pre-Stonewall America, sure, I'm sure most gay men were passive aggressive as fuck. But
yeah, most of them didn't even carry
Sorry,
most of them were scared of being killed for a tire iron.
Right. When you live in a world where your whole, you know, at any minute somebody might come after you. And here's what I've noticed of Christian homophobic men is they not only feel like they have the right to put hands on you and hurt you, they feel like it's their obligation. Like somehow because you're fucking up the Christian rules so hard, it's their job to punish you for it. And I don't know where that comes from because that's not the Christ, you know, that's not the love the sinner and hate the sin kind of mentality. It's not just like
their own internal insecurities.
Well, yes. I mean, yes.
Like bubbling to the surface.
Ultimately, yes. Ultimately, yes. Usually the guy who wants to beat up the gay kid kind of wants to fuck the gay kid. The impulse to fuck and the impulse to fight are almost the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I came out in the 90s, mid 90s. And I honestly did not expect the backlash that I got. I thought I had a better group of friends than I did, and I actually lost a lot of people.
And these are Scientology friends or Christian friends?
Or just regular friends at high school that I grew up with.
Yeah, like in the 90s, it was all about coming out. Everybody was coming out in the 90s.
Yeah, but it was still...
I kept that shit to myself. Like, you want to do dirt? Yeah, we're just... Shh. Don't say it. Don't say the gay.
Liz, I want to ask you something about Celebrity Center because I remember a lot of very butch women who ran that place. How many DL lesbians were running around the hall?
Honestly, I thought there was, when it came to the amount of gay, you know, women, I thought every single person that had a short haircut, not like my hair short, but like would have the pixie. Okay, let's give you an example. You got 50 women that got the pixie cut that just wake up in the morning and do the
Sharon Stone. That's Sharon Stone, man. She did the pixie cut, and every woman of a certain age suddenly had a pixie cut.
Yeah, and suddenly they all had the pixie cut. So then I'm seeing all these pixie cuts, and all I can think is you gay.
My ex had a pixie cut. That makes sense.
I've never had a pixie cut. I got close to a pixie cut.
Hey, you put enough product in that hair, you could get a pixie cut out of it.
Babe, you think that my hair looks like could be a pixie
No,
cut?
I'm just saying, like if you put product in and spiked it up, you know,
love you.
It could be similar.
I'm in here.
No, it's the straight boy haircut.
Yeah, it was, which is funny because like I got put in lower conditions because I went shorter than a pixie. It was like 107 degrees. Okay, first of all, on a daily basis, and I'm the Estates Project Force IC. So my job is to make sure people graduate the EPF and become good standing Sea Org members. Suck it up. Make sure
to shame them for any complaints they might have about the abuses.
You hate running. Oh, it's starting to hurt. Oh, you vomited. Yeah, that's your body's way of saying push harder.
You're not OT enough. Just operate, Thetan. No, what was that woman? There was a woman, a redheaded woman, who was like probably in her 40s when I was a teenager, who to my mind kind of ran that place. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Red hair. I know Renee Duzak had like brownish red hair.
Say the name. Renee Duzak.
Renee Duzak. She used to also work at AOLA. She was the LRH.com CC network.
No.
Where's Nora? Nora
would
live?
know. Nora would know. Nora would definitely know who I'm talking about. She was a real character.
Okay.
And
it doesn't look like Nora's. Oh wait, no. Maybe she's still alive.
I hope she's still alive.
No, live. She went
still
to the live. Okay, wait a minute. She better be.
I was like, whoa, that escalated quickly.
She's still alive, I think.
We went from is she on the top
live and alive.
Live and alive.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. Hold on. There's a way that we can do this because I'm gonna make it funny. Hold on. Where did it go?
Way back in the day, the lesbian giveaway was the mullet. That used to be.
I always thought the lesbian giveaway was tucking in the shirt to the pants.
It's the spitting, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was a total what they would consider a tomboy growing up.
Yeah.
Okay,
you
hold on.
Pay me to put me in a dress.
I don't know why, but somebody here has posted just Bonnie Raitt.
Still there. Ray Bidoff, Hubbard.
Hold on. It's not letting me pause. Hold on.
People.
What's happening?
Sorry, I'm hitting you with everything. It's not letting me pause. Because she's going amazing like. So we go here and we do it. Nope. Hold on, Mandy. Let me know if I do it right. Okay. And then
oh, hey, there she is.
Hold on. And here we've got.
Oh, she's doing
this. Here's the evidence of so-and-so doing it. He probably has pictures. Does he have pictures? Because when you do an operation.
You take pictures.
Sorry.
Yeah, luckily Scientology keeps meticulous records, just like the Nazis.
Right? Yes, because
a meticulous record of their crimes.
Yeah, and that is my favorite
Bonnie Raitt
part.
did write some wonderful songs. Sorry, somebody's just commenting about Bonnie Raitt over here, and I'm getting distracted.
Hey. Who is it? Wasn't it Bonnie Raitt? Let's give them something to talk about.
A little, but she didn't write that. Actually, her biggest hit, she didn't write something to talk about. And the other song I really love of hers is a John Prine song called "Angel from Montgomery."
Oh yeah, I know that song. My chick is Linda Perry.
Hey. I've been watching her wife on the Connors.
Great, yeah.
Linda Perry, yeah, she's an idol. Absolutely. She's a legend.
Little did we know that Darlene would marry
a four non-blonde.
Yeah.
Darlene.
And I don't know if you know this, Liz, but she has written a lot of hits. Like she wrote hits for Pink.
Well, the Pink record is incredible.
Britney Spears for
that's
how a lot of those.
And she wrote "I'm beautiful, no matter what you say." Words can't.
She wrote the party song.
He wrote some of the best hits of the 90s. There's a guy called Max Martin. He's a Swedish guy, and he wrote "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time." He hit me. He's a legend in the music industry. Yeah. Like people like that to me are fascinating. The guy who wrote "Wrecking Ball," he's wrote a couple of other big hits that are famous. Those people are very interesting to me because nobody really knows who they are, but they're important. They're instrumental.
Yeah, their songs have touched thousands and millions.
And I think there's something to an artist being matched with a song as opposed to singer-songwriters who I always loved. And when I was a kid, I just thought that's all that mattered was singer-songwriters. But I've come to really appreciate how what it means when Whitney Houston sings a Dolly Parton song, and how that bringing those things together is that what then makes the whole thing so much greater than the some of the parts, as it were. Does that make sense? Because I will always love you.
Yeah, I will always love you because just like Bette Midler said, you're the wind beneath my wings.
Well, she did say it, but she didn't write it, so that's the point, right?
True.
No, who was it? Joni Mitchell said this about songwriting, that the goal should be not hits, but standards. That's the word she used. The idea should be to write standards. And certainly if you think of a song like River or California or something, those songs are definitely headed that way. But something to talk about as a standard, these are the contemporary standards. The old standards are Don't Get Around Much Anymore and those sort of old jazz, Cole Porter jazz songs, Nat King Cole stuff. And now the new standards are what? Layla or something. Like the songs but it's the songs that get covered. That's the point. The standards are the songs that people used to sit around their pianos and sing together as families before there was radio.
One of the other great songwriters that people in modern times forget about is what's her face? Carole King.
Tapestry, yeah, Carole King.
Yeah.
So far away, doesn't anybody stay in one
she's
place
just like
anymore?
another, like just a standard legend in the industry, just like a working musician.
And she comes out of an old school kind of working class mode of songwriting, the Tin Pan Alley thing, where they like went to work like a 9-to-5 job and sat in a room and just banged out songs all day, which appeals to me, but I don't think that exists anymore. True. But the Tapestry record is one of those records, like Joni Mitchell's Blue, like Pink Floyd's not necessarily The Wall, not necessarily The Wall. I mean the other one, the Prism one, but I can't remember what it's called. Dark Side of the Moon. Nirvana. These records, these records that keep getting rediscovered every generation. Everybody, they come back to them. Those records are still charting. They still. Kate Bush got a second lift. From what? From Stranger Things. Because they Running Up the Hill. Yeah, they put Running Up the Hill, and that like resurged her. It is, fascinating to me how much of a thing that song still is. But yeah, it's interesting to me, songs that like, because generationally, so often those songs that are those songs for those moments get replaced, right? Somebody writes a new song, and now we have another moody song for this. But then there's some songs that don't get replaced, and they just keep coming back because they're so good. Like Mazzy's. I'm hoping for another Etta James. Wait, I didn't hear both of you.
Oh, sorry.
No, just what did I say? Somebody take a turn. Liz. Mandy.
I was just to say that's how I feel about Joy Division, because like,
oh wow, yeah,
they're so like they're never gonna come back, but some of those hits still get picked for movies. Modern movies.
Yeah. That's what's always interesting is when you hear those old songs, the funny old songs that people pull back up. There's another example of a song that was greater when covered was the song from Donnie Darko, the Tears for Fears song.
Oh yeah, the Mad World.
Oh, the original version of that song is kind of corny. It's kind of a corny kind of I love Mad World. It's not a great version of that song, but the version on that soundtrack just knocked us all off our feet. Really, you could
just like that. I like the version that Joan Jett does of Crimson Water versus the other one.
I don't think I know Crimson Water. You stumped me.
Wow.
Joan Jett is the
Crimson and not Crimson Water, Crimson and Clover. That's what it is.
Oh, Crimson and Clover.
Because she wrote that about a lesbian relationship.
That's nice. I like that. Crimson and Clover. That's cute. Well, she's more famous for I Love Rock and Roll, which was written by a guy called Al Merrill from a band called, Aces was it called? I forget. But I knew that guy, the guy who wrote that song.
Oh, cool.
Here in New York. And he played in a showcase that a friend of mine produced.
We just need to get you to California to get you on a showcase here. And then we're just going to put you on tour and be like, look.
Just put me on tour. I don't know how to do anything. That's what sucks. It's like, maybe I might have something here to offer, but I don't know how to do anything. I remember people talking about going on tour, and I was like, what? I don't even know how to get I don't even know how to get downtown. How am I supposed to go on tour?
You just have to start calling up venues and booking yourself.
No, I did. That's what sucks. I went through like a couple of these sort of periods. I even played a showcase of Lady Gaga right before she hit. And, you do it and you think what's going to happen? Something's going to happen and nothing happens. You end up living in a park. And then what happens? The Opie and Anthony thing happens. Something completely unexpected out of left field. And then after that, I did the same thing. I did shows, I booked shows, there were gigs, and nobody came. One guy.
I would always come.
It's a weird thing because when you're on the internet,
sounds dirty, but yes,
the audience is so kind of dispersed. It's not necessarily a local, like I don't have a local fan base. So there wasn't like nobody. There were people that could have come to these shows, but nobody did. So, there was one guy. One guy came to all three. Came to like 3 different shows. And then there was one dude who did drive up from somewhere like Tennessee or something, but he like sat in the bar and didn't even come into the venue. So I don't know what that was all about. So yeah, being almost as famous as Grumpy Cat. It's lots of fun. That was the joke.
Grumpy Cat before she died.
She was a headliner at South by Southwest the year that I was invited. I went to South by Southwest 2013, and Grumpy Cat was like, we kept joking about how my competition was Grumpy Cat. Who would
Stasia, I don't think Tom Petty got the recognition he deserves.
Lucinda Williams. Yeah, Tom Petty's definitely underrated, but in a good way. Like Tom Petty kind of did sit back and he was never trying to be number one. He was just trying to make good jams. You know what I mean? Like there was always seemed to be an emphasis on just having a good time, not necessarily.
Or Your Last Dance.
Well, that was probably the biggest hit he ever had. Last Dance.
I loved that song.
And that was later. That was after all.
The music video scared the shit out of me, but
the Kim Basinger
dancing around like she's a dead person, like
Last Dance with Mary Jane.
Oh, I can probably freak you out with some music videos I've seen.
Yeah, there's some good goth stuff.
Apex Twin.
Really freak you out. Yeah, right. Apex Twin. There you go.
Come to Daddy.
There's some freaky shit. Fucking or Tool. Remember those old Tool videos?
Oh yeah.
The
video for Schism is insane.
Oh, Schism.
But it's all stop motion animation.
Yeah. So were the Sober video. There was 3 more. Prison Sex, Swamp. They were great. Keener, something. Maynard. He's got 3 names and I forget which order they go in. But yeah, that guy, he's awesome. He's a crazy bad genius.
And I've listened to a little bit of everything. The only things that I really can't stand is modern country and acid jazz.
Well, as I understand, modern country has just gotten really pop. Is the complaint?
Yeah, it sounds more poppy. It sounds like I'm listening to. Yeah,
that's what Shania Twain is blamed.
Yeah, but it also came from working class people, whereas now they're not really working class people anymore.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I always think is funny about country songs. Every once in a while, I'll catch a lyric about the barbecue stain on my white T-shirt. I don't know if anybody knows what song I'm talking about, but
barbecue stain on my white T-shirt.
Right. So it was in an ad or something, so I would just hear that line over and over again. It's that feels like such not a put on, but oh, we're trying so hard to be working class. Oh, aren't we trying so hard? When I know the guy singing that song is a multimillionaire. You know what I mean? And even though I'm sure he has barbecues in his backyard and gets barbecue stains on his white T-shirts, he's not he's not some working class schlub anymore. You know what I mean? And I just wonder why. But that's the audience. That's the medium. That's the narrative that they the audience they provide for, as it were. So they got to keep being all working class even when they're not. Hip hop has the same problem. You got to be from the streets, but then you become a billionaire and you're not really from the streets no more. You can't really rap about being from the streets no more. Same thing.
Yeah, because I think people had an issue with Eminem when he first came out, but then they realized, oh, he did come from the streets. He knows what he's talking about, and then they gave him a pass. Well,
yeah, he's trailer park guy, right? So he has, because he was also poor, so that's okay. The same is true for Elvis. Elvis was also poor and grew up in the back, in the backwoods of Mississippi and shit. He didn't just hear that music somewhere and try to steal it. He grew up listening to it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I will say that it's my grandma was a huge fan of Elvis.
Grandma's everywhere.
She was all about the "Don't step on my blue suede shoes," and I'm like, Grandma, that's off key. That's off key in it. You're going like this.
I like singing off key sometimes.
But at the same time, she loved him.
Yeah, I never really appreciated Elvis until maybe just a few years ago. And it's really, you got to see the comeback special to really get a sense of what he is as an artist, because the early stuff I don't think showcase who he is. It's all about the, sexiness or whatever it was of him. And he was beautiful.
The sway of the hips.
Oh my God, people were so freaked out. Can you imagine how repressed the culture that's what did it? Just some guys.
The guy gyrating is the one that causes
and then jump forward to Tom Jones or Robert Plant with their dicks out and and they're throwing panties on stages. Oh, how far we've come. And now I
Yeah.
don't even know. Now there's purity rings. So
Yes.
I guess we've come
There
around.
is that. Oh hell no! Actually, Tim McGraw grew up really poor in Louisiana. His dad refused to accept responsibility of him. Till the name Tug was willing to say he was his father. Yeah, I remember hearing the story all about him. Like he knew that Tug was his father, but Tug would not take responsibility. And then all of a sudden they met when he was in high school, and he's like, "Oh shit, you are my son."
Huh. Etta James.
Just kidding for treating you like garbage.
Right. Just kidding. Etta James has a similar story where her father was somebody famous, but he was white. And so he completely denied her. Completely.
I can
Same
see
as the old
Barbie.
me. Hey, that's me. Somebody's quoting me now. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Tug was a baseball player. Yeah.
Yep, he was a baseball player.
Thank you, Dennis.
But I think what people seem to forget is that when you grow up, how a lot of us grew up, no matter what religion or cult you grew up in, or snake oil you fell for, we all found some kind of outlet. Daniel just happened to be like so musically inclined that it was just like magic. For me, I was sports. I could put my anger and everything that I'd been through a sport. Well, then my body said, "Fuck you, bitch. I'm going to watch your knee.
Yeah,
you like
right.
it? You like your knee? Watch. I'm going to go."
I didn't even play sports and I broke my knee. So
Yeah.
take
Like
care
I've
of your
had so
knees,
many
you'll
knee
miss them
surgeries.
when
The
they're
doctor's
gone.
just like, "Oh, I'm shocked it's hanging on."
Yeah. Oh God, bodies. Oh, bodies. Oh, what a pain.
Yeah, it's not just that we're a little what is it, an adult in a baby body. We're now adults in adult bodies. Yeah, just saying, it's strange.
Old people bodies.
Yeah, it now feels old. I'm painting a room right now, as everybody knows, and as I'm painting this room to get it ready for my mother, I'm sitting there like I'm on the ground painting, and I'll stand up and I'll go, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yep,
That
everything
doesn't
pops.
sound so sexy.
Yeah, right. Oh, the noises. Oh, yeah. I make all these old man grunty noises, and the dog has started to mimic them. She makes these little noises now that she didn't used to make.
You're like,
because I'm all every time I get up.
Hey, I definitely understand that one. Definitely. Like, there's times that Carrie will look at me and she's like, "You're acting a little old."
How old are you?
Or even worse, she's like, when I'm really hurting, she's like, "You sound like your mom." And I'm like,
Oh yeah, I hate sounding like
them there's fighting words. Like, that took it too far.
Yeah.
Like, you went too far on that.
But we mimic our abusers.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Try not to.
Try not to. Oh, try as hard as I do. Try as I might.
I love this. I don't even get to the floor because it takes me an hour and a half to get back to my feet.
Yeah, getting down.
Or I'm doing the
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta put my hands on something, brace and be like, oh.
Yeah, I'm putting like one hand on this knee, and I'm doing the "you will stand up."
Yeah, and people don't understand because I walk on a cane and people want to offer me seats sometimes, but it's easier for me to stand than to sit and have to get back up. Getting back up is the hard part.
Yes.
It's the hardest part. So it's easier sometimes if I'm only going one stop to just stand there. But people always want to offer you the seat, which is nice, but yeah. It's hard to explain to people. I don't want your seat.
Yeah, I was in a wheelchair for the first time I was in it was 9 months. The second time was a year and a half.
For what? For you?
They had to rebuild my knee.
Oh, for your knee. Okay.
So so the last one I had to fully learn how to walk again. Like I couldn't move my leg. Like it was like it's kind of like you're walking.
Like it's not attached.
Leg, you're like, ugh.
I know. I see what you're talking about. Like it's not attached. Like the tendons.
Yeah, and so you're sitting there dragging it. Like, yeah, this is a sexy walk. And you're having to hold on to the bars because if you try to put weight down on that foot, you're going, woo! Just kidding, everybody.
Yeah. So it's like Monty Python had the Ministry of Funny Walks.
Aurora.
Lyrics don't forget who you are, even though you're in need. Like a bird in the night, your emotions deserve to be free. You can cry, drinking your eyes. Do you miss the sadness when it's gone? I don't know what that's from.
Aurora is amazing. She's an autistic little Swedish or Finnish elf-like creature that has the most amazing voice I've ever heard. I was actually watching like a little documentary on her right before it came on here.
Oh, Aurora, the blonde.
Yeah.
What's the song? I want to say A Conqueror, right? I'm looking for a conqueror. Yeah, she's tight. She is Norwegian. There we go. She is pixie is definitely the way to describe her. And she does some cool covers. That's how I heard her first. She did a cover of somebody. I can't remember who though.
Hey, all I will tell you is that music, I have come to realize that music has like a place in everyone's recovery. And I didn't think it did. But
I don't know. Music doesn't mean nothing to some people. Some people barely even hear music. I've realized that some people don't hear melody. Like do you know what I'm talking about? Like there are people who don't hear melody. And so they don't understand melodic music. They hear melodic singing and they go, oh, that's a good voice they're singing with, but they don't really get what it is that everybody else is hooking into. Mm-hmm. That's a weird thing to me. A lot of the guitar players I've known, really good guitar players, but guys that can just like, shred. They couldn't carry a tune to save their lives. Like totally tone deaf, no concept of melody at all. So what I do sounds totally redundant and dumb to them.
Well, the one thing I know. I was just gonna say the one thing that I have noticed in like the last, I don't know, decade or two is our ears are now tuned to stuff that comes off of The Voice and American Idol and stuff like that. And everything is so like perfectly tuned in production that when anything sounds live and one note is off, people are like, oh, they suck. And I'm like, no, you're just used to hearing like pitch perfect. Someone is
overly produced
in and like
making an auto tune. There's this bane of this auto tune thing where you can somebody can go in there and sing an entire thing off key, and they can go in with a computer and fix it and make it sound like that.
It doesn't sound quite as good.
No, it never sounds right. It sounds auto tuned. It sounds wrong to anyone who's listening, but to people who aren't really listening, to the people who it's just noise in the background or music at a club or something. It doesn't matter.
Hey,
to a lot of people, as much as we're all talking about how much music means to us, there are people that say music doesn't.
I think music's shit,
or just like it's just noise. It's just a thing you dance to. It's got a nice beat. I can tap my foot to it. That's all that matters. Whatever else is going on is not really. And then to some of us, it doesn't even matter the aesthetic of the song. We hook into the thing that the guy's or the girl is talking about, the person's talking about. So like, it's a whole spectrum of how people even engage in music.
Yeah, and I'm always looking for things that really make me feel something.
Well, I don't understand music that doesn't. I think all music is going to make you feel something, even if it's hatred. That's one of the things about punk music that's very interesting, is that it often, the response as an audience member is hostility, is to get mad. And so you have to like kind of work through your anger at this music to even learn to like it, to even learn to appreciate it, because it's coming at you with so much hostility. Especially back in the days when people used to spit at spit at each other all the time.
Or like,
that's a punk thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, punk. Yeah.
Yes,
I love punk music.
REM, U2, Indigo Girls, Replacements. Yeah, Lori, absolutely.
Indigo Girls. I haven't heard them in a long time. Or do you know LP? Do you know there's a singer called LP? Laura something. Do you have any idea who that is? She's a gender non-binary. She looks like the dude. She looks like the dude from the 1975. She looks like a cross between like Mick Jagger and.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And she's awesome. There's a voice.
I'm gonna have to look that up so that way I know. Carrie probably like her selection of music is like it's gonna bounce all the way around every genre. And then it's just whether or not she finds the music sexy.
Well, that's okay. So, all right. She'll like LP. Her music is very sexy.
Be like, okay.
Or Dorian Electra. I don't know if you've heard of Dorian Electra. Dorian Electra is another like gender bending person.
I do know her, the tattoo of the ship.
I like that. No, I'm just going to do whatever. It's gender fluid. That seems more real to me. That seems more genuine. And the fact of the matter is, to me, it all depends on who you're with. If that makes sense, like it's how you relate to this person. There's people you want to fuck. There's people you want to get fucked by. There's all sorts of directions that you can kind of look at relationships and sex and sexuality depending on who you're with.
Yeah. When it comes to queer music for me, I think the one who really sticks with me is Peaches.
Oh yeah, Fuck the Pain Away.
Yeah.
Fuck the Pain Away. She was huge when I first came to New York. She was all that. Her music was everywhere. Well, my queen of the gay music is Ani DeFranco.
Oh yeah. Oh, I went to Lilith Fair in the 90s. That was fun.
I didn't get to. Yeah, I've seen Ani live, but not
Ani DeFranco, Melissa Etheridge, Fiona Apple,
Indigo Girls, Sarah McLachlan.
She was part
of the Lilith Fair.
Tori Amos.
Tori, who? Oh yes, Tori was a queen. Those were the big. Is Ani D, Tori, Bjork, Liz Phair.
I love Liz
PJ
Phair.
Harvey. PJ Harvey's probably like the
yes.
best. And there's a couple more. I don't know. There's a couple more.
I love PJ Harvey's stuff that she does with Nick Cave.
Yeah, she did a whole record with Nick Cave, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. I know kind of older stuff, but she's genius. And again, because she's
I could talk about music all day long.
But Tori lost me. Tori lost me when she started singing about butterflies. That chick used to sing about abortions. Now she's singing about butterflies. So I think I've lost my thread with Tori as much as I love her.
Okay. I can see that.
That was the 90s. Every female artist, there was at least one track on that record about her abortion. Fiona Apple had a song about her abortion on her first record on Tidal. Everybody was singing about their abortion.
Even Billie. I was about to say Billie Eilish. Billie. I don't think she's had one.
I doubt it.
Britney Spears. That's what it was. Britney Spears. But she came out recently that one of her old songs was about her abortion.
Wow. See? Even. Wow. That clinches it right there. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Even Britney.
Yeah.
Well, Ani is my Britney. So. No, I don't want to talk.
Katie Lang. Almost forgot. Yes.
Oh, Katie Lang. There's a voice and a half. Yeah. Constant craving. Oh, yeah.
I think all of our playlists are exhilarating. Like listening to you guys talk about music and looking at how bright like your faces get. It's like
it is.
That's how I talk about sports. So for me, that's sports.
Yeah.
Like my Billie Eilish ukulele.
Oh yeah, I need to get a ukulele. That's a good idea. It's amazing to me how much the ukulele has come back and become such a big part of popular music. Everybody has a ukulele version of something on all the pop songs. There's some ukulele version somewhere. Billie Eilish does a couple of good ones.
Mm-hmm.
The one about your birthday. Sorry, it's your birthday.
Yep.
I love that song.
What
I'm
is your
gonna let you
go-to
guys
song right
go.
now?
Say what?
Okay. You're gonna let us go? All right.
I'm gonna let you go because I gotta finish my laundry.
It's never done. It's never.
I have like 4 loads to do.
That's an inbox that's never empty.
I'll talk to you later, Liz. It was good to meet you, Daniel. I
Nice
hope
to
I
meet
talk
you,
to you again
Mandy.
soon.
I'll talk to you later today, lady.
She's already muted. So is Nora going to join us or no?
She's still on her live. I checked out to see where she was, and she is still absolutely going on that live. So I don't foresee her being able to join us, which means that she's going to have to do this again. We're going to have to do this again.
Well, I'm supposed to do it all the time. I'm supposed to just do this all the time and get used to it. Just do it all the time. And I'm supposed to start my own channel and be some freaking yappity yap. Oh, I can yap so well.
You can, but at the same time, it's not, there's people that can talk and that sit there and talk, and you don't understand what they're saying, but you have a way of relating your experiences to what you want to go over.
Yeah,
and that makes it easy to understand.
I tend to have some fucking story attached to everything. Yeah. I am turning into one of those old guys full of stories.
Oh, I guess Nora just finished. Someone just said Nora just finished.
Nora just that's personal, Peter.
That sounded dirty.
That sounds like a personal issue.
I'm like, Nora's wife would not want us to know this.
Unless Nora's wife was who got her to finish.
True. She might kill us for that statement.
It all depends. So what? Now people are tuning in now that Nora's done. Look at that. We got totally like cock blocked by Nora.
Well, it's because Nora was talking about Mike Rinder. So anytime you're bringing up.
All right. So should we talk about Mike Rinder?
Sure. Let's talk about it. I've never met the man. I think he's vile. I think.
See, it's hard for all of us, I think, because we're going to be naturally biased because Rinder was the boogeyman. Rinder was so much the front-facing guy who scared me anyway, and younger people, I'm sure, even more so. David Miscavige isn't that intimidating, no matter how hard he tries. But that Rinder guy, he was scary.
Yeah, I was not scared of. Hold on, she's asking me to text her a link.
Miscavige.
I was not. I was never scared of Miscavige. Amy Scobie, on the other hand, like I thought that woman was gonna reach into my heart or reach into my chest and pull out my heart and step on it. And then when I talked to her over the phone for the first time, like since many years had passed, it was literally like,
this is just a cigarette, by the way.
Oh, I know.
I know. But I don't. It looked like when you light a little clip of a cigarette, it looks like something else sometimes. That's all.
Oh, I don't care if you even. I am 420 friendly. If anybody has a problem with the fact that I am 420 friendly,
what a DB
I don't know what to tell you, because I'd rather make sure that I'm on something that has grown from the ground than something that is made in a lab.
I'd rather this than a pharmaceutical. It's funny, again, I talk often about how like there were these hippie roots in the early days of Scientology that all got kind of pushed out over the years. And it's always seemed weird to me how anti-drug, anti-weed and stuff like that the church was, that Scientology was, because the hippies were all about it. But they didn't want you enlightening yourself in any other way. They wanted to presume that only Scientology could help you. Like you're not supposed to take LSD because that might actually lead you to some higher consciousness they didn't want you to have.
True. Very true. Okay.
A weak little elf. And Rinder is a scary Santa. Yeah. You know, Santa's the same letters as Satan. It's impossible not to be 420 friendly in Colorado. Yes, I would imagine so. Yes, Jamie Mustard is my half brother. Jamie and Josh and I, we share a father. They have a different mother who is still very much engulfed in the craziness. Rosalinda and my mother are both representative of a generation of women who were a little older than the hippies, who kind of like ditched their more comfortable lifestyles to go shack up with hippies. In a sort of like, who is the woman, the heiress that got kidnapped? Patty Hearst. Oh, okay. Patty Hearst, she got kidnapped by a bunch of revolutionaries, and then she turned on her own culture supposedly and sided with them. And there were quite a lot of debutantes of the time who dropped out of their little socialite lives to go marry hippies, and my mother was one of them, and so was Jamie's mother in her way. It says here that somebody's insisting that Hubbard wasn't doing drugs, but I knew the doctor. I worked for L. Ron Hubbard's doctor, and I know that he was doing quite a lot of drugs.
Yeah, he absolutely did. There is unequivocal evidence besides just his death report. Like if you pull
it says he was on everything but roller skates.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't read the whole comment. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. Like and then he sat there and said, "Oh, drugs are bad.
Yeah, he was supposedly like, on speed all the time, which he reads as a meth head. He reads like that. And that's the teeth and the way, like even that interview where he's like, he's doing this thing all the time with his teeth. That's like cokehead shit. No. Yeah. That shit. Yeah. He was psycho. He was totally psycho. He was so psycho. It scares me now that I think about how much I admired this guy as a child, as a young person, just to realize how fucking psycho he is. And then here I am being, I'm pretty psycho myself. Unfortunately, I kind of remind myself a little too much of the old man.
No,
do as I say, not as I do. Look, the do as I say, not as I do. There's a really specific point to that, which is about the puppet master, the game master. He sets the rules, but is not obligated to follow them. But you play the game thinking that everybody's playing the same rules, but they're not. And that's part of the game. Yeah.
That is the hard part, is that a lot of times
Hippies were very much early punks. It was the tune out, drop out. It was the generation of people who realized that the world was just a big fat lying mess.
You want the ottoman back? Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
Are you on live?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She didn't realize that I was on.
No, my boyfriend has a tendency to do that. I will be like, he won't talk to me all day, and then I'll be on the phone. All of a sudden, he's got 100 things he's got to say.
Yeah, we're just trying to get the house in order. Like, we're gonna be hanging our TVs today. Went and got a router so that way the far bedroom is gonna have cable and internet access.
Well, that's what matters.
Because we got to make sure.
Without internet access, you're not even human no more.
Well, for me, it's particularly, we upgraded our camera system. We already had like a decent one, but we upgraded it to a much better picture. So where you can actually, if anybody walks up to the house, like, you're getting a full on, thanks for walking up to Candid Camera.
Get some of those geese. The guard geese.
The guard geese. Okay, hold on. Nora's
have you seen that clip? It's this goose, this woman, she's nursing a baby, and there's like pet geese or something. And an eagle comes and tries to take the goose. And this woman runs out of her house. And all of this is on a door cam, on a front doorbell cam. And she runs out of the house and chases the eagle off and saves the goose.
Oh.
It's just one of these funny clips that goes around.
All right. So Nora's saying that she wants a link. Sent her a link. Let's see. I love that Nora is going to join us because
Nora knows everything. She knows what's going on. I want to know who it was. I wonder if she was in that room. Who was who were the, because it was all girls. It was all young girls, teenage girls. But who chorused me to that?
Okay. So I just sent it to her. So now she's good. Hold on. This one, do as I say, not as I do. That one got me a lot.
Yeah.
That one got me a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
Because a person asked me, why did I respect L. Ron Hubbard so much as a kid? Because we were told that he was a war hero. We were told that he basically walked on water.
Well, it's a Jesus myth. It's anytime you have I suppose a Messiah to elevate, you pretend that he's holy, righteous. There's a whole thing about the compiling of the Bible. It's all the stories that make Jesus look holy or supernatural, but all the stories that make him look human, they edit those out. They cut those out. So that's all they want to tell you. I remember going to the L. Ron Hubbard Museum thing just on Hollywood Boulevard and just thinking, this is all just such bullshit. Just all bullshit. Hey, Nora. Hi. What's up?
The shirt you're wearing, it's almost like it says the gay.
It says the gay.
The gay. Oh no, we're gonna catch the gay.
That's what I'm telling you.
COVID mask.
I gotta make sure that I sneeze into my shirt so I don't spread the gay.
I can't spread the gay.
No, only certain people are elected to be part of the gay.
Right, we got to make it prestigious. But
Yeah,
that's what the conservatives are accusing us now of, making it all so hip. So everybody wants to be gay now, or queer, or trans. What I find fascinating are people who are gay people, but gayness has been so vilified to them that they opt for the trans identity because it's a newer thing. So there's not as much shame attached to it.
It's a whole, listen, like everything, it evolves. And it's just, it's fascinating to me where all of that comes from too. Like, it's just, yeah. I feel like it's, there's so many labels now that I don't understand. Like, my kids are explaining them to me. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All the time. I was just like, I don't know what that is. So I have to Google things and figure it out.
I like the notion of we were talking about this before. I like the notion of gender nonconformity. I think that's probably more genuine a thing. And particularly because I do think of myself and everyone as in a spiritual notion, as a spiritual being. And I know that's a funny thing to say in the context of Scientology, but because that's where I get it from. But I've always thought that way and always believed that we are something beyond these bodies. And so the conversations about gender and race and all these kind of things just don't really make a whole lot of sense, really. Right? Because the body is almost irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost.
No, I feel you on that. It's just, I think it's just more of, it's more in the zeitgeist, because, we're all about the same age. And it's so when we were growing up, there was no Ellen DeGeneres. There was no Glee. There was no like Family.
You know what I had when I was a kid? Stuff like My Own Private Idaho.
Right.
Like that was a big deal. Indie film.
My Own Private
Indie
Idaho.
film allowed some queerness into your life under the guise of I'm into art films, right?
Right. Right. But those were those were so, niche. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, the great River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves together. I mean, just.
Yeah. And I remember showing that movie in particular to other Scientology boys who were,
yeah, they're a little
of questionable orientation.
You had it. Did you like it?
Did you like this movie?
Did it make you happy?
Yeah, right. But see, you could get away with appreciating good art like that, and those characters and those actors because it never revealed yourself too much. Like when the Joan of Arc film came out, right? And Mia Jovovich was like playing Joan of Arc. Okay. I was like melting in my body because she was so hot and all this stuff. But also they showed a tiny bit of like her queer arcness. And then Dave Pettit, who's like the most, closeted mofo in the whole planet, was like, he basically said to me, "You're like her." And I was like Mia Jovovich?
Like you hear voices in your head? Or?
Right?
Like Jesus talks to you?
Does God talk to you directly?
Right? Well, probably. But, but like that I was like this rebel. But I think like what he was trying to say is like, queer sees queer.
Yeah,
he tracked me along with Renee Duzak,
I think that this yoga is just full of queer people hiding out.
Yes.
That's what it is. And that's what the Catholic Church was for a lot of people for a long time. That's where queer people hung out or hid out rather. Also historically, this is where queer people go.
We hung out in the hallway of the Wilcox.
Good one. Hung out in the hallway. That's funny. All right. No, but I still feel so pissed. I still feel so damaged by it. This bigotry that doesn't even belong, I think, in a theology that's supposed to be relating to you as a spiritual being.
Yeah.
It doesn't even belong there. And Kate Bornstein, if you know who she is, she's
amazing.
Woman. Right. So I read her book because of the tagline, the incredible true story of a nice Jewish boy joined the Church of Scientology and then left to become a nice Jewish girl.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was standing in the library going, Scientology. Okay, I had to read that. Right.
Yeah.
And that was what drew her in, was that it talked to you on a spiritual level. It wasn't about you being a man or a woman or anything like that. It was about you being a spiritual being. I won't even use the T word.
All of a sudden, I'm all transexual, transvestite.
No.
Satan. The T word. That's why Aaron always says, "Not today, Satan."
Not today, Satan. Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's good. Not today, Satan.
Right?
Not today, Satan. That's hilarious. Oh, that's good. Love them.
Pamela, I'm going to honestly say, why can't we just treat humans as humans? That would be a lovely, amazing thing.
Honestly, I think
not brought up like that.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, is we treat humans like humans and we don't treat humans very well.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know what we should do is treat everybody like a pet, like our dog. You know what I mean? Like, it's the one thing we can do really well as people, is be good to our pets. There's something we do well, but we're not very good to each other.
So he was originally talking about someone at Celebrity Center that had red hair and a pixie cut.
Right. There was a woman who kind of, in my mind, when I was a teenager, kind of ran Celebrity Center. She seemed to be the large in charge. Red hair. She had a pixie cut at some point, but for a long time, she really had more of the sort of Dorothy Hamill kind of thing. But
and that sounds that sounds like Duzak.
No, because Renee is very tall and willowy, and she had black hair.
Yeah, no.
And if you're talking about the woman who had like the bob haircut and then it went short, Daniel's talking about the
president.
No. She was the DCO for something. She was foreign. She had like a Spanish accent.
No. She was a white American woman. She was not. No, she was an American woman. She's a little heavy set. She looked a lot like the woman who plays Nora. What's her name? On Girls, the mother on Girls.
Was it the vice president then? Because
Maybe.
she was always around.
I don't really know. I wasn't. I wasn't.
Because I know in the president's office there was a woman that had red hair. And
President's office sounds right to me.
That was right. The vice president, and she was out and about all the time, but she was German.
See, I don't know. Maybe she didn't have an accent. The woman.
But how old was she? Was she an older woman? Like,
yeah, she was in her 40s when I was 20. Right. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. This is my puppy is invading now. She doesn't like being left out.
No,
hello, Raven.
They can't be.
She's a beauty. She's a beauty queen. You see her? She is all up in my face now. You gotta stay. And then did you know my dad when he was the manager of the Manor Hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to play the piano in the lobby all the time.
Yes, he did. That's what he was known for. It was weird. At a certain point, I made some friends with some girls who were Sea Org people who ran away. You probably knew them. I hid some of them. I hid some of those girls on their way out.
Good job.
I don't know. And they all knew him. Some of those girls worked directly under him, and it was just kind of the closest I ever felt to him was learning about him through them.
Yeah, that's how I feel close to my dad, is hearing stories from people that hung out with my dad. Like Sterling was like, no, your dad was the funny guy. Like nobody could hate him. Mike Brown, your dad was the funny guy. Nobody could hate him. Like, that's kind of me. That's me. Like,
right.
I'm the funny person that nobody wants to hate because
I don't think I ever saw your dad, honest. I mean, maybe one time at like a staff meeting get cranky.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, he was a big, jolly guy who was just like huggy and like jovial. And what makes me look back on those times with sadness is like the affection and things that he would give to people like me, right? That I was just literally like a rando in his life because I had joined the Sea Org. I wasn't even in the same org as him. Mm-hmm. He was not giving to you and the rest of your family. And that as a parent, like it just breaks me because like, it was something that I never, that I never thought about at the time. Like, you know, I was a teenager in the Sea Org.
And we were all taught to think that these things didn't matter that much.
It was none of that. All of it was normal. Like, oh, your dad's in the Sea Org and you're not. And like,
or just that idea that your kid wasn't really even your kid. This is just a spiritual being passing through and you're here to take care of it so it can take care of itself.
No, it's just insane. It's just like, thinking back on all of that now and seeing like remembering like the cadet org kids coming through and doing projects at Celebrity Center to like clean up the files or like clean the grounds or things like that. And the way that we talked about the cadets and the people supposedly taking care of them and stuff. And everybody was just gross. Oh, they're filthy. And like all these, like the question never came into my mind. Like, why haven't these kids had a bath? Why is no one like teaching them how to put on deodorant?
Because they're responsible. Because you're responsible for your own condition already at 8 years old. You got to get your shit together. If you don't, that's your problem, right? That's that's the big abuse.
No, it's insane.
Yeah, and Jamie and my sisters kind of suffered through that, but Jamie's still mad. He's still so.
Yeah. I mean, he's working through it and I'm proud of him for, all the work he's been doing. And, like you guys were never like, okay, we're going to drop a bomb with our story because you got your entire story, your family's story is enormous, right? You think it's just one in like a million, but it is, it's a lot. And it is woven through, a lot of heartbreak and everything else. But the fact that you were just living across the street in the Shangri Lodge for all those years, and your father's literally 25 feet from you.
And constantly doing business with CC, not for nothing.
Right.
We were constantly renting out rooms and doing stuff and all sorts of stuff.
You guys were, I mean, without the
Shangri Lodge. So it's not like we were just we were interacting. It wasn't like
it was symbiotic in some ways, but like let's be honest, you weren't like raking in because they screwed you guys on prices and everything else too.
Yeah, it was always about the break. That's the only reason. Yeah, Mom was always giving them breaks and stuff. And they used to do weird things in our apartments. I'll tell you. There was a whole like I don't even know what to call it, but like a woman, like somebody's having
turtle power.
Liz, we can hear the Ninja Turtles.
You can hear the Ninja Turtles. Yes. It's not me singing. It's Carrie.
It's Carrie, but you should. Anyway, go ahead, Daniel. I'm sorry. That wasn't. just
No,
a random Ninja
they
Turtle
did this
thing
a few
coming in.
times, but there was one in particular where was a woman who was supposedly having a psychotic break. All she wanted was to get the fuck out of there. And
Right.
so they were like, no, you can't go. And so eventually she starts throwing a fit, as a human does when it's contained and trapped, and they call her psychotic. So they lock her up in one of our apartments, and they're running supposed processes on her and all this stuff. And it was nuts. Like, it was so clearly something wrong with this. And I was barely even allowed in the apartment. I just showed them to the apartment. No, there's just whatever. It's a torture chamber. It's a dungeon. And some people grew up in the dungeon. And for me, the dungeon was my playground. I went to the dungeon to go play.
Yeah. I think we all did that. And also just a shout out to the uncreative Sir Burger Planet Geezer, who thinks that they are super clever here in the chat, spelling the F word out in individual letters over many chats. Not creative, not fun.
Glasgow.
Just stupid.
No swearing.
Because guess what? We're all gay and we own it. So, oh no, that word doesn't bother us. So also just dumb. Like if you're going to be in 3rd grade, you can go.
Was somebody being homophobic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
they spelled the F
bad
word,
gay word.
the bad F gay word, which some gay men are like, they call each other that, and they call.
You mean the cigarettes?
Yes, the British cigarettes. Yes.
Well,
yes.
You know that story. You know where that comes from. Why faggots?
No,
Why faggot?
go for it.
Back in the day when they used to burn witches on it, like ladies like you, they'd tie you up to a stake and set you afire. The faggots were the homosexual men were so lowly that they were just thrown onto the fire with the other bundles of sticks, which is what a faggot is. It's a bundle of sticks you use to set a fire.
Wow.
And that's why faggots and cigarettes are called that, because they're both.
Women were so powerful, we had to be tied down and
witches, men, the men of
there
the time were scared of the witches being the smart, independent women. They were terrified of women who knew what the fuck they were talking about, because they knew that women were going to unravel all the lies and all the stupid stories they tell each other.
I love it. I've never heard the origin of that word other than, like that, but that makes sense.
But that's why the cigarette is also, that word is used there.
Who's setting fire to their house?
Look at this. We're being sabotaged.
In our house? Okay, hang on one second.
Osa
this is my kid
fire
trying
alarms.
to
Okay.
Even better.
I'll remove her for right now. She's still here, everybody. I didn't delete her, but that way we're not hearing the beep, beep, beep. Yeah. That is hilarious. I don't even have a good comeback to that, actually.
Where, the kid trying to cook or the faggots?
Yeah, because I've set fire to a house before. That was amazing. I had some relatives come over to my apartment when I lived in San Jose.
And that was the only way you could get rid of them?
No. So they were like, you know what? You've done all the cooking. Why don't we do the cleaning? Okay. Wow. So now it's Andrew Starr. Wow. You're just so original today.
What's happening?
Now, Andrew
really?
Starr
They're really doing this? Why?
Yeah.
I mean, who are they? What I don't understand is, why would you come to somebody else's channel to be a dick?
I don't. If mods can get rid of that, it's not on my channel.
At Andrew Starr, who hurt you? Who hurt you?
Right? It's okay if you're gay. You don't have to be mad at us because we're
Is he related to Ringo Starr? Because that's
I don't know. I'm just saying, it's.
Well, yeah, that's the old joke of the trolls. They have no life. They have nothing interesting to look at or do. So they bother themselves by bothering other people.
Yeah. You're super. Oh, they're saying he's gone. Thank you so very much, everybody that took care of it.
Sisu, the most important Finnish word to know. Sisu. The only thing I know about Finland is the Monty Python song. Finland, Finland, Finland. I know Renee. I think I know who that is.
Nice. But I will say, coming out as gay for us was not very easy.
I had to move across the country.
So the way that I would tell people I was gay, I was like, yeah, he's not cute. he's not my cup of tea.
Right. He's not my type.
Right.
Sometimes I worry that the only reason I like want to be an artist in the first place is because it was the out. He's not gay. He's an artist. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of like, so like that was okay. It was okay to be gay if you were an artist or gay-ish or something, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I need to be an artist, just to justify my gayness.
Is that why I like Pokemon? Because I need to justify my gayness. Like I just have.
I don't know. You just want
to.
You just want to poke a man.
I want a Pokemon. That's right.
Oh my goodness, that was just my teen trying to cook, and they did things in the wrong order. So
don't they?
the house didn't burn down.
Well, that's
no, they
good.
just turned
Your
the
house is
pan
not
on, and then look at my hair sticking up. The pan got too hot, and then we have a brand new house, from like a couple years ago. So there's like sensors in each quadrant, and if like the heat gets too hot, or if there's like a smoke from a pan, that's what you hear. Fire, and then each area has its own individual sprinkler. Like if that had gotten hot enough, the sprinkler would have turned on over his head to put out the fire. So I had to jump into action. And then I get an alert from my home pod, which is in the same room, that's like, danger, your house is on fire. I'm like, bitch, I'm in the house. I'm good.
That's like when I try to log into an email account and they like want me to go through 12 different security steps. It's too much. It's over secure. I think it's interesting now. They found that talking fire alarms are more effective in getting people to move or waking up. Wake up. A voice saying wake up works better than an alarm.
Right. Renee, catching up with mustard. That's right.
That's what I'm going to call my channel, Catch Up with Mustard.
That's what you should call it.
Isn't that hilarious?
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
That's my thing. That's my friend Renee. She's blowing my wad right. She's blowing up my spot right now.
She's like, you will love him.
Renee was also raised in Scientology.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Her parents were Sea Org.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is that and I said it before, is that the most powerful. Thank you, Toby. The dogs now. The most powerful thing that I think we've done, protest-wise, has been the list that Liz Gale created, and getting to carry that around CC.
Wait, what's the list? I don't know the list.
So Liz made a list. It had 142 names on it at the time of born-ins, second gens, third gens, people that have left. And then at the bottom of the list were also people who were born in who are no longer with us. Mm-hmm. And the list was like 75 feet long, and a group of us, what's up? We said your name, Liz, and there she is.
Holla.
Holla. And then we carried the list as a group around Celebrity Center while like telling them about it, and said the names. And now I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Liz Gale, like about 60 to 80 other people have contacted her and been like, I want my name put me on the list.
Am I on the list?
Yes, I believe so. I believe you're on there. But Liz wanted to make sure that the people she had put on were consenting to it. Because, we've all known people who are out, and they're out, they're not doing Scientology. They're not with it. But because of other connections, they're not talking about it.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that are out and just don't want to even talk about it anymore. They managed to get themselves off the mailing list and they're done. They want nothing more to do.
How? Like, I literally
you got to move addresses a lot. It helps if you move out of country or out of state. I had to move across the country.
I've moved out of country, and you know what happened? Because I kept my P.O. box, it still kept coming.
Yeah.
So I've even written on it.
This is the one thing they do the best.
I drew
keep
rainbows.
Following you.
I am the gay. My name is Lick-a-Lot-a-Puss.
It's a great being.
I masturbate. Like I've tried like all of it. Like every list I would put on there. I'd be like, masturbation is my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, I'm an alcoholic, an addict. I'm famous for being homeless. I'm a bum. I'm the most degraded being on the planet.
And I just
all of the things they said were going to happen to us if we left, Dan, happened to you, Danny.
Well, I left, so
yeah.
I guess they were.
Yeah, I flipped burgers. I was told I'd be lucky to flip burgers, and you know what? That was the best job ever. After the Sea Org.
What's wrong with flipping burgers, everybody? What's the matter with you?
Like,
first of all, why do they hate burgers so much?
It's one of these old school boomer concepts that flipping burgers at a hamburger stand is some summer job that every person of that generation had. So they keep relating that but people don't realize that food service is like the #1 industry in the country now. It's not just a part-time job.
Oh, did you want your DoorDash, everyone? Then you got to thank a burger flipper. Like,
yeah,
right?
See that annoys me. That's the only, the capitalistic notion of America is to say that competition breeds innovation, and the only innovation we can come up with is more convenience.
Thank you.
That's it. That's as innovative as we've been in
mic drop. Yeah, pretty much.
Since polio. When was the last time we actually invented something or did something good for the world?
I don't know. Well, the iPhone's pretty great. But
yeah, we didn't do that.
None of us did that. Like,
who did that? Was that Bill Gates?
We're definitely the tester children of all, anti anxiety and medications.
Wait, what? Our generation, the Prozac.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, they tried to put me on that stuff. My mother went to court. She fought it. Ooh. I wish. I wonder sometimes. What if I'd been medicated? Maybe I'd be better off.
Yeah.
I wish child services had taken me away, but of course nobody was going to call child services.
Oh my God.
Nobody called.
Can you imagine if CPS had shown up to one of these? I mean, if CPS.
Oh, they did. Child services used to show up to Shangri-La every once in a while, and we play. Oh no, they're good people. They're good. No, it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's good.
Everything's great.
Because we're good Scientologists in good standing, so you don't snitch. You're not allowed to snitch. You're not allowed to say to a cop, "Yeah, they're beating their kid." You're not allowed to say that. You're allowed to, they're going to, don't worry, we'll get it fixed in auditing. So let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Sorry. That's sad.
No, but see, here's the thing is first of all, the accountability in action, kids.
Yeah. She said that the other day.
Talking about what we participated in. We all have trauma. We all are, could stand here on our soapbox and be like, I'm a victim of Scientology, but that's not what any of this is about. It's about this is what happened. This is truth. And here's what I did. And then this is why Scientology has to be stopped, because not only did it do shitty shit to me, but as a Scientologist, I did these things because that's what we believed in.
Yeah.
Because we were in there, we were doing it. It's not like a secret. We weren't the one Scientologist that was just oh, I'm just going to hide over here while all the bad stuff's happening. Oh, look it's a party time. There's zero Scientologists that can say that. Zero that can say, I never did anything wrong to anybody else. Well, during my time in
there's probably zero
I just
people
had
that can say that.
I just had wins. But let's be honest though, even in your mundane participation, take a person who was never in the Sea Org, didn't have kids, just was paying the money to go and do courses and stuff. That in itself is contributing to child trafficking, human trafficking, all of the things that were going on in that org. And they knew that there was kids supervising them, that there's kids auditing them. They're paying for that. So even the person who is just I just went in and I had wins and it was fun. Sorry, you saw the things that you saw and you didn't go, what? I don't speak Greek. I wish I did.
It's all Greek to me.
Because I am Greek and I'm ashamed that I don't. See. My grandfather, he came here as an illegal alien and stole a name off a gravestone.
Is that true?
Kids. Yeah, no, it's all true story.
Five. That's awesome.
Yeah, right. He came here and he stole what he thought was a super American name, Emil John Sova. So not Joe Schmo. Right. John was in there, had his kids. They were all baptized in the Greek church, in the Greek Orthodox church. And then he passed away when my dad was 7. And then my grandmother remarried very quickly after that. And then they, no connection to Greece. So unfortunately, no, but I want to.
That's the American. That's the thing about American immigrants. We lose it. We lose wherever it is we came from. That's how you become American. I think something like that.
Well, no, absolutely. You blend.
You're just reunification. Let's just call it what it is. Reunification.
I got into the weirdest argument with a woman the other day who was saying that slavery and genocide, American slavery and genocide, were part of God's plan to reunify humanity in the new world, in the United States of America. Because now in America, there's people from all over the world. And that was supposedly part of the plan to get it there.
Did you lose your shit? Did you?
I
what did
had
you say
to
this
really.
person?
I said that's well, it started because at first she said something about Native Americans, and I said, well, yeah, we took everything from them, and she said the word savages, and as a black woman, but she said Native American savages, and that's what started it. And I was like, wait, what? You can't just say something
I would have
like
to walk
that.
away
What is
from
wrong
that
with
conversation.
you?
I'm
Yeah,
proud
so
of
would
you.
I.
And then she went on to the whole thing about slavery being part of God's plan to bring African people to North America, which they might have gotten here all by themselves.
Yeah, I mean the thing about people in general that have that firm belief, that is a rewriting of history by the extreme right evangelical.
Well, this is coming from a Caribbean immigrant Black woman who's probably a Jehovah's Witness. Yeah, she was clearly very
that's
Christian.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
And this is
the Christian's interpretation that wants to put in the textbooks in Texas schools, which is actually there now, that the slaves were volunteers. They're volunteers. Yeah. That's what they're teaching kids in Texas now.
No, what's sick about that is the indentured servitude that then led to actual slavery. It technically it's a volunteer. You volunteer your enslaved self so that you can get out of captivity or out of some sort of financial place. So you can sell yourself into slavery. So you're right, that's a choice. But that's not what happened.
No.
That was there already. And they took that and went, now let's lock it into place.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean,
so you can never get away.
Again, like you made the comment about DoorDash and convenience. Slavery was a way for rich white people to not have to labor, and it's all of these things, cults, slavery, all these things are a way of control, are a way of domination, and a way for rich people to remain in power. It's always about that. Let's address this comment that's here from SM.
Yeah, because it made me.
If Miscavige left Scientology, and we're talking about David Miscavige, of course, and started talking against Scientology, would he too be forgiven? No more questions asked. He himself never even did anything. Would it be the same? No. Then why Mike Rinder? So I'll address this, since this is clearly a question to me because of my last life. So first of all, if David Miscavige were to leave Scientology and spill all the beans and get, name the names, time, place, form, and event, and get Scientology's 501c3 status revoked, and get the kids out of Scientology and release all the people that have been human trafficked across the country, and make sure all of the known assets were there to be held, and got everybody refunded, and sold off all these BS buildings they have all over the country and gave it back to the communities that it came from, then I could say, good job to him. Now, thank you for the fireworks. But if he did all of that, I'm not, forgiving Mike Rinder for all the things. I think that's what Dave Miscavige should do.
That's what the Catholic Church should do. That's what a lot of people should do.
Why not Mike Rinder?
Are we forgiving?
So, why is Mike Rinder being forgiven for all the things
and
just allowed to walk? Because he did the frog in the pot, guys. He came out, and if you go back to the beginning of his blog, he was still very much a Scientologist. He was talking about the benefits. He was talking about things, about how auditing's still good. Him and Marty were on the same track of Scientology is good. It's just the leader that's bad. And then slowly they diverged, and Marty kept being a Scientologist. And Mike was like, well, now I'm going to try this not Scientology thing. And Marty went off into his whole guru
When
land
does the HBO documentary come in?
Right. Going Clear talks about that. But then, like I've broken down before, Marty was going to be the guy that sat next to Leah in the show. Right. But what had happened, because he was number 2, what had happened was Scientology did what it always does. It found Marty's Achilles heel, which was his wife. And
his
I do not
kid.
condone anything that happened to his wife. I did not like people who considered themselves to be anti-Scientologists to be attacking a woman who never had anything to do with Scientology. Her unfortunate choice was to marry this guy who she fell in love with, who happened to be a very high-ranking ex-member. That's her only quote-unquote crime. And that's not something that's punishable by what happened to her in a psychological warfare, and then people trying to destroy her business, including people who consider themselves anti-Scientologists. I don't condone that at all. So he did what any logical person who's genuinely in love with the person that they're partnered with would do. He shut the fuck up and went away, and he probably took a big paycheck, and that's fine. I don't begrudge him for doing that, for protecting his family in that moment.
Yeah.
So then we turn to Mike, and now Mike's the superhero, right? Because he still has a lot of info, but I can tell you what, he's not forgiven in many circles by many people who had dealings with him. And that's the problem that we see now, is that when you don't tell all of it or pretend that you weren't part of things that you were a part of, and try and slough it off on somebody else or on the organization, then you get yourself in the scenario we're in here.
Yep.
Right? Because we know where the receipts are, and we know where the truth is. And truth is important. It's part of the healing process, is to know, like when you're getting info about your dad, Daniel, and you're finding out things about him that you didn't know, that, can sometimes hurt, but also help you heal at the same time, because truth does that. It, like the old saying,
understanding
it sets
where
you
he
free.
was coming from, why he was what he was, and why he did what he did.
Yeah.
Better, if nothing else, because you take it on personally, especially as a
Yeah.
kid. You're like, oh, he hates me. He's rejected me, and especially when he's right across the street.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, clearly he got no time for me. And and the only saving grace in a weird way was that knowing that he did this, he ghosted the other Josh and Jamie too. Like, it's not like he gave special attention to, like, Elton John has this whole thing about his father went off and married somebody else and had 2 kids that he was really nice to. And he couldn't be nice to his first kid because he hated his wife. But, it's not like he was nice to some other kids, but he just didn't connect with his kids at all.
Yeah. And that's it. And that's not an uncommon theme in Sea Org parents. Oh,
Yep. Did we lose him?
Hit a button. The dog hit a button.
The dog definitely hit a button. I don't think he notices. Well, what we can do is this. I know that it is almost at 2 hours, everybody. I need to take care of some things here. Daniel, I love you. I'll call you. Nora, stop doing it, Nora. I'm gonna mess you up. I'm gonna monkey. I'm gonna throw poop at you. Oh, so let's pop back in real quick. So Daniel,
the dog hit a button.
Yeah. So what we were saying is it's been almost 2 hours, and I've got to run some errands real quick.
Okay.
If you guys want to finish, you can't, because
we can peace out. No, you gotta. It's your stream, honey. You gotta close it. It's all good, Daniel. We're gonna talk later, and I wanna, when you launch your Catching Up with Mustard, we gotta do a thing.
All right,
heck
definitely,
yeah! And if you were not yet subscribed to Catching Up with Mustard,
I'm actually gonna see Jamie this week.
Catch Up with Mustard. Catch up
with mustard.
Just
catch up.
With mustard.
CATCHUP is one word with mustard. So it looks like ketchup and mustard. Jamie, you're gonna see Jamie?
I'm gonna see Jamie.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen him.
Not on the YouTubes, in real life.
In the real world. Wow.
In
Well,
the
tell
real
him I
world.
said hi.
I will. Yeah.
Well, we've got to get.
And if if you're ever up here in Portland, let's hang.
Yeah, definitely. Portland seems like a good place to be.
Yeah.
We're up there keeping it weird, right?
Always keeping it weird. Well, thank you so very much, everyone. Please, if you are not yet subscribed to the amazing Daniel, please definitely smash it. Just do the smash the and hit subscribe and
subscribe.
Subscribe. Yes.
I need to.
Yeah, there we go.
Listen to
he
songs.
does sexy things, everybody. I'm telling you, he might even sing for you.
There it is.
So, love you all. Thank you so much for coming, and we will talk to you later. Thank you so much.
Bye. Hearts. That's cute. Bye.